Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today in this Zoom meeting. First, I would like to say thank you for our professor, Prof. Arianto, as a lecturer of discourse analysis. Today, in this meeting, we are going to make a video presentation. This presentation, we will elaborate one of the theses of our professor have. The title is about cohesion. Cohesion in descriptive discourse, written by the 6th semester students of English Department of FBBS, IKIP Ujung Pandang. This thesis split into two sections for our group. Group 1, we will explain or elaborate from introduction to a research methodology. And the rest of the thesis will elaborate by the second group. Okay. First of all, let me introduce the group 1. The group 1, the first speaker is Muhammad Faisal. And the second is Nurul Sri. The third is Afiki. The next is Rishna. And the last is Shahrullah. And unfortunately, our friend Artina is not joining us today because of sick. Okay, we go to the first, the background. The background will explained by Muhammad Faisal. Okay, Muhammad Faisal, the screen is yours.
Well, thank you for the chance for given to me. We would like to talk about coherence. Firstly, today, language teaching methodologies are promoting a relatively new method of language teaching known as communicative language teaching, or CLT. Next. This method shows that language is naturally a means of communication. As such, language is used to convey message from the addressor to the addressors. These assumptions has CLT to give more emphasis on the teaching of language use over the teaching of language usage. This emphasis is provided to make language learners to be able to communicate their intended message as well as possible to other people. And according to Richard in 1986, he stated that CLT is clearly different from some other methods. Some other methods, such as audiolingual method and grammar translation method, assumes that language is naturally a system consisting of regularity with some exceptions. Under the point of the significance of the study, the researcher we will explain how the descriptions of an aspect of discourse that is cohesions contributes valuable insight to language teachers. One important element that we can analyze under the text analysis is cohesions. According to Halliday and Hassler in 1918, these terms refers to the semantic relations among elements of the text. Cohesion with varieties holds a very important role in creating text. According to Halliday, cohesion functions to provide textures. By this role, cohesions help to create text. Another statement maintains that cohesion is the foundation in which of edifice of coherence is built. Some study of cohesions have been conducted into particular types of discourse written by English learner both. Two of them are in Crowhurst in 1981 and Khalil in 1989. Their studies, however, are restricted in the search of the types of cohesion and its frequency of occurrence and particular type of discourse. In Crowhurst in 1981 studies cohesion in argumentative, whereas Khalil in 1986 studies cohesion in expository discourse. In attempt to search for the states of cohesion in learners' language, a decision is made to conduct a study of cohesion in descriptive discourse written by the students of the English department of FPBS IKIP Ujung Pandang. So this decision is taken for some considerations. First, the students on this level are supposed to be able to write a short descriptive essay. And secondly, studies of cohesion have never been conducted to these students. And third is the writer himself teaching staff of the institute, so that it's not too difficult for him to conduct the research. So besides, he wants to share something useful specifically for his institutions. And in cohesions divided into two is first is grammatical cohesion and lexical cohesions. Next slide, please. Well, the present study tries to explore the states of cohesion in descriptive discourse written by English language learners. The main problem of the study, therefore, can be defined as follows: is what states of cohesion in descriptive discourse written by the sixth semester studies of the English department of FPBS IKIP Ujung Pandang. So the specification of the states of cohesion leads the writer to formulate the research problem into 3 points. First is what types of cohesion occur in the descriptive discourse written by English language learners. Second is what is the frequency of occurrence of each type of cohesion in descriptive discourse written by English language learner. The third is what is the cohesive harmony of the descriptive discourse written by English language learners. Next slide, please. Next is research purpose. In relation to the problems defined, this study is conducted to establish descriptions about the states of cohesion in descriptive discourse written by English language learners, specifically the sixth semester students of the English department of FPBS IKIP Ujung Pandang. So the description will include 3 points. The first is this description of the variety of cohesion in students' discourse, such as descriptions will inform the readers which types of cohesion that occur in the discourse under analysis. In addition, in this, the descriptions will also cover the problems that the students encounter in using identify types of cohesion. So the second is this description of the frequency occurrency of each type of cohesions. This informs the readers which type of cohesion dominantly occurs in the student's discourse. And the third is the descriptions about the degree of cohesive harmony of the student's discourse. This informs that the readers how good of cohesive harmony of the student's discourse is. Next slide, please. The significance of the study. The writer under this point explains how the result of the study gives benefits either theoretically or practically. Theoretically, the descriptions provides evidence of the types of cohesions frequently or rarely occurring in the descriptive discourse written by the English language learners in our country. The descriptions about the cohesive harmony in the students' discourses may also serve theoretical benefits, such as descriptions will serve useful insight for other study of cohesions, and study of cohesion, which in so far have not been frequently conducted, may utilize the descriptions as a basis of other studies. In other words, the descriptions is useful or others research for of cohesions. And then in practically, the descriptions obtained is hopefully useful for English instructors. The descriptions of the variety of cohesions may serve valuable insight about the student's mastery of cohesions. The descriptions of cohesive harmony will be probably much more useful for the English language instructors. The descriptions explain how well the cohesion in the student's discourse has served its function as the foundation of coherence. Using the descriptions, they can also see what problems of cohesions their students encounter. Next slide, please. This study is facilitated with two assumptions. First is the students of the English department of FPBS Ujung Pandang who are taken as the subject of the study, that is sixth semester students of the 551 program know how to write descriptive discourse. And then this assumption is acceptable because the students have completed the course of writing 1 and writing 2. And then second is the discourse, the right reveals of the reflection of the writing skill, providing that test administration to elicit the required data is conducted seriously, if they were assigned to do a test or an examination. Next slide, please. And the last is the study is limited in some respect. First is limited to particular type of discourse under analysis. According to modes, discourse can be classified into spoken and written discourse, and it can also be classified according to its functions. And then the second is limitation deals with the problems discussed. To anticipate the difference in the states of cohesion among the types of discourse, the present study only concerned with a particular type of discourse, so that is written descriptive discourse. And then the last is deals with the subject of the study. The subject include a group of Indonesian EFL learners, and the respect the subjects involved to 21 students of the present 6th semester students of the English department of FPBS Ujung Pandang, who then procedure to 28 descriptive compositions. I think that's all for me. I get to moderator.
Thank you so much, Faisal. A wonderful presentation. The next turn is for the second speaker, Nurul Sri Setiawati. Nurul, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Now let's go the review of related literature. This chapter describes some points relating to the problem cases. The point include discourse insight, classification of discourse, cohesion, classification of cohesion, the significance of cohesion, cohesive harmony, and cohesion and learner's language. Next slide, please. Okay, discourse. And under this point, the notion of discourse is clarified in relation to the notion of text. This clarification is necessary to let the like this. Maybe discourse and text. Discourse and text are indeed two similar terms. Discourse is formal and orderly and usually a stated expression of thought on one subject or key language directional. It may be spoken or written and usually consists of more than one sentence. A text is semantic unit. It comprises semantic relation among its elements. This relation refers to what we call cohesion, and it is one of the linguistic elements that help to correct of the text. So, for example, of this course and text, no smoking, when there's never care, with the weather every day. Next slide, please. Okay, the classification of discourse. It was mentioned before that discourse may be spoken or written in as much as this study concerns written discourse. The written will only focus on this type of discourse. Written discourse can be classified into the some types. Written mentioned to classify into 6 types as following. The first one, descriptive discourse. The second one, narrative discourse. Third, the definition discourse for the process discourse. And 5, classification and construct discourse. And the last, persuasive discourse. And the descriptive discourse is type of written discourse by which is the written describes something he feels or he heard. And the discourse is type of discourse that tells about an event chronologically. And the third definition of discourse is text definition of particular construct. The definition can be brief or complete. And the third process of discourse, this type explain about how to the something. And the 5 comparison and construct discourse. This comparison something to another thing to show the similarities and differences. And the last, persuasive discourse. This type of discourse expressive and argument. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Cohesion. Cohesion is the relationship between propositions that are expressed by the argument, grammatical and semantic elements in the sentence that make up the discourse. Discourse is a formal aspect grammar, especially in sentence organization, cohesion of sentence and other complex speech. Next slide, please. Okay, the classification of cohesion. Following the classification of cohesive device, cohesion is divided into some types, holiday and has some 1976 under 2018, divided into 5 major types, different duplication, additions, major conjunction, and electrical. And then example of reference as demonstrative. The first one, reference, substitution, eliciting, majoration, and lexical. Next slide, please. Different cohesion is established with the process of pronominal descriptive, defined article, and comparative. It points to another element of a text. For this demonstrative, the third defines article, and the last comparative. And supplication, cohesion is relation, is the wording. It may be relation of linguistic items such as word and phrases. In the terms of linguistic system, substitution refers to relation on the logical grammatical level, the level of grammatical and vocabulary or linguistic form. And the ellipsis is sample substitution by zero, like substitution, ellipsis, within the some fundamental relation between part of the text or a relation between group of words or classes. The description of ellipsis for substitution is the ellipsis is under offset or set of presence. And the example for facilitate understanding of the three kinds of ellipsis. The first one, normal ellipsis. The second one, formal verbal ellipsis, and the last closed ellipsis. I think that's all for me, and back to moderator.
Thank you, Nurul. Wonderful explanation. The next presenter will explain about the conjunction. The next presenter, time is yours. Who is the next presenter? Okay, Ma. Who is?
Vicky, Kak.
Oh, Vicky. Okay, Vicky, I'm sorry because I didn't see your video. Camera. Oh, sorry, I don't. I need to replace the pin. Okay, Vicky. Vicky, please, screen is yours.
Okay, thank you for the chat. Now I will explain about conjunction. Conjunction, the fourth major type of cohesion in conjunction. It refers to relation established by the presence of elements that presuppose the presence of other element in the text. The elements are known as conjunction. Conjunction cohesion is classified into 5 types: additive conjunction, versative conjunction, causal conjunction, temporal conjunction, and other continuative conjunction. Each of these are exemplified as follows. Additive conjunction, no one wants to be rejected, and to prevent rejection, we change our behavior. Versative conjunction and causal conjunction, temporal conjunction, and last other continuative conjunction. Next slide, please. The underlying element in the example, presupposes the presence of other elements. In the first example, the additive conjunction presupposes the presence of elements that complete the information conveyed in the first sentence. In the second, the adversative, however, presupposes the presence of elements that expresses a different idea from the idea conveyed in the first sentence. In the third, consequently, presupposes the presence of elements expressing the effect of the information in the preceding sentence, and in the fourth example, of course, presupposes supporting the ideas expressed in the preceding sentence to facilitate a tool of cohesion identification. Holiday and Hassan provide a great that conjunction cohesion is signaled by the presence of the following. And one, activate conjunction, and two, adversative conjunction, and three, causal conjunction, and the last, other continuative conjunction. The next slide, please. And lexical. The first major type of cohesion is lexical cohesion. This type of cohesion refers to the relation established by the presence of lexical item. Halliday and Hassan classify lexical cohesion into two types: reiteration and collocation. Reiteration refers to the relation established by the of the same or similar lexical items in different of the same text. The reitered item is commonly preceded by the defined article. The example of reiteration is found in the following sentence. John bought a new book at the bookstore. The book is about animals. Here, the lexical book in both sentence refer to the same thing. The one in the second sentence is the reiteration of the in the first. Thus, a lexical cohesion, basically reiteration cohesion, is established between the two sentences. And next slide. The procedure of cohesion analysis. Khalid, Hayes, and Hassan discussed in detail about 31 cohesion in English, having explained about the types of cohesion. They provide a tool of cohesion analysis. Their procedure of cohesion analysis has been implemented in some studies of cohesion, such as Crowhurst and Nauner, Pangribuan, Khalil, Pangribuan, and Johnson. Also, not explicitly explain the procedure involves the following steps. And one, identifying the unit, and two, identifying semen in relation, three, labeling the identified cohesion, and the last, obtain in the numbers of cohesion we want it in each text. The next slide. the significance of cohesion discourse. Cohesion harmony, the concept of cohesive harmony explained in the following section, three types of relation. The discussion of cohesive harmony begins from Hassan's view of the semantic relation in text. Different from here prefers nation with Haliday Hassan maintain that the semantic relation among parts of a text are established through three types of relation. These are coherence relation, co-classification relation, and co-extension relation. Here, it is explained in detail. Co-reference and co-classification and co-extension. Traditional concept of sense relation in an attempt to clarify the three sense of relation. Hassan also described the traditional concept of sense relation. This maintains that three are sense relation that are generally recognized in the literature on semantics. These three sense relations are two use of synonyms, antonym and hyponym, whenever two lexical expressions stand in any of C relation cohesion is established. And synonym, antony, hyponym, heteronym. I think enough for me, and back to moderator.
Thank you, Vicky. Wonderful explanation. Okay. The next speaker is Rizna. For your material, please. The screen is yours.
Okay, I will continue the explanation, and it's about the procedure of cohesive harmony analysis. Next slide, please. Okay, as my friend explained before, that the procedure of cohesive harmony analysis involves some steps. So the first one is identifying the unit. So it's mean that the analysis of cohesive harmony also start from the T unit identification, and T unit is an independent clause with its subordinate, and the order number is then given to each T unit in the text under analysis. And the second step of cohesive harmony analysis is lexical rendering. So this is conducted to identify the lexical or grammatical items that potentially relate on to another in the text. And these items include nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and pronouns. And interpretation to grammatical items is necessary to clarify their relationship to other items. And next slide, please. Okay, based on the example that this research choose, in this step, we can see the little underline word, the little girl, teddy bear. It is the example of from the interpretation of grammatical items. Next slide, please. Okay, so after conducting lexical rendering, we move to configuring cohesive chains. So that is configuring cohesive chains, and as the previous speaker mentioned before, that cohesive chains are proved two types. The first one is identity chain, and the second one is similarity chain. So what is identity chain? So identity chain is configured from the relationship of lexical items or tokens referring to the same thing or co-reference relationships, while similarity chains is configured from the relationships of co-classification or co-extensions. And based on the example before, the word girl, teddy bear, home are the example of identity chains. And the word when and got in number 2 and number 5 is the example of similarity chains. Next slide, please. And we can see that the next step is configuring chain interaction. So a chain interaction occurs whenever two or more members of particular chain relate two or more members of other chains. So the relation may refer as any of these types of functional relations. The first one is the relation of attribute and attribuant, such as little and girl. So the word little is the attribute, and the word girl as the attribuant. And the second one is the relation of actor and action, such as girl and when. So the word girl as the actor, and the word when is the action of the actor. And the third is the relation of action and action open, such as took and teddy bear. And the next is the relation of action and goal, such as said and words. And the last is the relation of action or actor and location, such as girl, I am good, and home. Next slide, please. Okay, the next step of cohesive harmony analysis is obtaining the numbers of tokens. So the term token refers to lexical items obtained from lexical rendering. So finding the numbers of tokens is necessary to obtain the degree of cohesive harmony. And the numbers of tokens necessary to find include the number of total tokens. It is refers to the total number of the tokens obtained from lexical rendering. And the second, the number of relevant tokens. It refers to the number of tokens that enter in cohesive chains, either identity or similarity chains. And then the number of central tokens, it refers to the number of relevant tokens configuring chain interaction. And the last step in harmony analysis is interpreting the degree of cohesive harmony. So referring to Hassan theory in 1984 and 1989, the degree of cohesive harmony of a particular discourse is expressed by the percentage of central tokens over the total tokens. And the figure may range from 0.00 to 1.00. And the next slide, please. Okay, the next is about cohesion in learners' discourse. So there are some previous study or previous research about cohesion in learners' language. And some of this, it's the previous study. The first one is Crowhurst in 1981 conducts a study of cohesion in argumentative discourse written by school level students, and Connor in 1984 explore the types of cohesion in ESL students' writings, and also Neuner in 1987 conducts a study on cohesion in freshman's essay, and then Halil in 1989 conducts a study on cohesion in Arab EFL students' writing. So this is some previous study related on this study. I think that's all my explanation. The next material will be explained by other members. I give back to the moderator.
Thank you, Resna, for your presentation. Okay, we come to the last topic, is the research methodology. Okay, will be presented by myself. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, in this research methodology, some point that we will is elaborate is research design, the subject of study, and the analysis of how we analyze the data. The first is the research design. In this thesis, using a descriptive method, especially analyzing the content that the text, we say the content analysis. This is a descriptive method is used by researcher if you want to describe existing condition accurately to prevail condition of the students discourse in this term. This study is deal with the description about the status of cohesion in descriptive discourse written by the students. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't turn on my video. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's continue. The source of the data is the students' composition of the descriptive text. The next is the subject of the study. The population is the 6th semester of the student in English department of FPBS IKIP Ujung Pandang. Because there are just a few sample, there are 28 students of 6th semester of English department. Okay, the next point is a research instrument. This research using a test to get the data. to get the discourse analysis to analyze the test of the students. There is a test to there is a criteria for the test is required for the researcher to get the data. The researchers make a test to the students. They need to make a descriptive essay about 200 words, and the topic they can choose the topic that familiar with them. They have been given a topic by the researchers when they develop the instruments. The next is the data collections. The source of the data is required for this study is the descriptive discourse that have been written by the students. So when the researchers want to elicit the data, they need to administer the test composition as the subject of that study. So they give the students a test about the composition of the what they want, what the researcher going to get from the data. The composition is the descriptive discourse. There are having explained about the type of cohesion before that. That's the composition of the text that the researchers want to get. Okay, let's move to the data analysis. The research data. The word is the research data. The researcher, the author of the thesis, have three problems. The first, for the first data is for the types of cohesion. For the second data is for the frequency of cohesion, and the third data is for the degree of the cohesive harmony. So the researchers need to answer this problem from the instrument they give to the students. After that, there is a method analysis for the first problem above. There are a theory the researcher used is a theory from Hassan and Halidasi. This is explain how to solve the types and the frequency, or to search the type and the frequency in the discourse text from the students. And the third problem about the degree of cohesive harmony will be used theory by Hassan. Okay, the theory about cohesive harmony. The third point is the cohesion analysis for the problem number one and the second problem. The researcher need to identify the T unit from the text composition. I mean that they need to list the T unit of the composition from that text. A T unit is an independent clause with the subordinates. The next is the researcher will identify cohesion among the T unit. Cohesion is a semantic relation among the T units. So the characteristics there are presence of a reference, the substitution, the ellipsis, conjunction, etc. Okay, this is how to labeling the cohesion, the identified cohesion. After the researcher found that the cohesion they identify, they need to write down in the table. Look at this corner like this in the table. Then in the type of cohesion, they need to code the type of cohesion. You can see that the types of cohesion here. And okay, let's move. Okay, after that, the researcher will obtaining the frequency that have been occurs. The researcher will have used formula. The first formula is to get the frequency about the cohesion, and the second formula, yes, you can look this about the particular type of frequency. After that, they have found this the frequency. The researcher will search the average frequency of the formula, the average frequency of the cohesion in all the text. The number means that the number of the text have been found. The fourth step is the researcher will find the cohesive harmony. So the researcher will analyze the cohesive harmony. The cohesive harmony is the problem number 3. Like before, they need to identify the key unit. After that, they need to lexical rendering. So there are lexical potentially interrelated are identified of the units in lexical rendering. The next step is a configuring cohesive chains.